Four workers are injured in yet another construction site accident. Delay in World Rallycross Championship in Central. And a preview of the meeting between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden next week. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Four workers were injured at the Yau Ma Tei construction site after metal bars fell from height when being lifted by a crane. Two of the workers suffered serious injuries. The incident was the third serious construction site accident this week. Timothy Lee has our top story.
The accident occurred at a construction site at the intersection of Ferry Street and Kansu Street in Yau Ma Tei. The four injured workers were trapped underground, with several of them pinned beneath metal bars. Fire services officers used cranes to lift the victims back to ground level. They were rushed to Queen Elizabeth Hospital via ambulance. Some of the men were required to wear oxygen masks. It took fire services personnel 20 minutes to rescue all four workers. Two of them suffered minor leg injuries, while the other two are in more serious conditions, including skull fractures. The industrial accident took place at around 1 p.m. Sources say the construction site workers were moving a pile of metal bars via crane at the time to an underground location 50 meters deep, when the machine's steel cable suddenly snapped and dropped around 30 bars from height. The four workers were unable to dodge in time. Li Guangsing, a safety advisor for a construction industry union, said the steel cable could have snapped because of aging equipment or an imbalance in the weight of carried items. He added construction sites should follow the 3-3-3 principle, where items carried by cranes must first be lifted off the ground by 300 millimeters and remain in the position for 3 seconds, and ensure individuals must stand at least 3 meters away from where the lifted item may potentially drop. The construction site in question is part of the Central Kowloon Route project, which experienced 3 other industrial accidents earlier this year. Last month, a 40-year-old male construction worker was injured in the hand by a loose I-beam and was trapped 25 meters underground. In May, a 49-year-old worker of Nepalese descent died after he was hit by a vehicle while working at an underground site. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The government has increased penalties for breaching the Occupational Safety and Health Ordinance for more than half a year. But industrial accidents continue to emerge. With our Secretary for Labor and Welfare, Chris Sun, said more safety trainings for construction workers are necessary to help prevent such mishaps. Speaking on a radio program, Sun said some 400 staff members from the Labor Department are responsible for inspecting the construction sites. The government will better manage such manpower resources in accident prevention efforts, Sun said. Seo Sin-man of the Association of the Rights of Industrial Accident Victims said the group noticed the government has stepped up inspection frequencies for bigger construction sites recently, but hope the government or the department won't overlook the smaller ones. Hong Kong's first hosting of today's FIA World Rallycross Championship season finale was delayed by 4 hours due to construction issues.
There have been various unforeseen delays with the construction of the track, and it became apparent that it was not going to be finished in time due to those delays, so we had no choice but to shorten the route.
Entry time for visitors was delayed for 2 hours. The route in Central had to be shortened by 800 meters. The championship began in June and has taken in 6 countries across Europe as well as South Africa, with Hong Kong serving as the final stop. Sunday's events will start as planned at 9 a.m. The 70th Macau Grand Prix began today and is being held for the first time since the pandemic began. Macau authorities said over 90% of the event's tickets have been snapped up. The motorsport event will be held for 2 weeks, with the first week featuring Formula 4 races, the TCR Asia Challenge, as well as the Greater Bay Area GT Cup. This year's Grand Prix attracted around 250 drivers from all over the world, with 40 from Macau and over 50 from Hong Kong. Today marks the city's first Double 11 shopping festival after the pandemic. Shops and merchants both online and off have rolled out discounts and offers hoping to ratchet up sales. They include multiple shops at this mall. This brand launched a week-long promotional bid with some half-price deals. The shop manager said they're looking to woo mainly local clients. She says sales are expected to be boosted by 10% than the same period last year. This sports shop said reopened borders and the return of mainland tourists have helped buoy sales by around 15%. But the mall spokesperson said only less than 20% of the shops offer discounts, specifically for the Double 11 shopping fiesta. Meanwhile, experts said mainland consumers have become more rational over their spending in this year's Double 11 or single-day extravaganza. A research by Bain & Company on 3,000 Chinese shoppers found more than three-quarters of those who responded plan to spend less this year or keep their spending level. That given uncertainties over how the economy is faring. An expert said consumers now are turning to smart products with personalized features, and companies could offer products tailored to their needs. Still, some mainland brands, including this Chinese ceramic shop in Jiangxi province, see a brisk sale this year. The shop said its orders have surpassed 10 million yuan in this year's Singles' Day. President Xi Jinping is scheduled to travel to San Francisco for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit next week, where he will meet with U.S. President Joe Biden. Signals from both sides suggest they are seeking to stabilize tense relations. And on top of trade-related matters, the two leaders are expected to discuss issues about the Middle East situation and Taiwan. In the works for months, the meeting between President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Joe Biden is finally confirmed by both Beijing and Washington. The leaders of the world's top two economic powers will meet on Wednesday in San Francisco on the sidelines of the 30th anniversary of Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation's first Leaders Summit. It also marks Xi and Biden's second in-person get-together in almost 3 years. Chinese ambassador to the U.S. Xie Feng wrote on a social media post that the two leaders are set to engage in in-depth discussions on issues of strategic, overarching, and fundamental importance in shaping China-U.S. relations. Major issues concerning world peace and development will be touched on as well. The White House, meanwhile, said Biden will talk about the importance to maintain an open channel of communication on Wednesday during the meeting. Also on the agenda are discussions over how to responsibly manage competition and collaboration in areas where interests from both sides align, collaboration especially on challenges that impact the world. Some U.S. politicians expect the two leaders will talk about issues about human rights, trade, and the situation around the Indo-Pacific and North Korea, as well as Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine. Similar expectations from some experts on geopolitics.
Can China put some pressure on Iran or Hamas to step back and see if we can find some way to restabilize things in the Middle East? So different sides, but this is what high stakes diplomacy is all about. And so the possibilities of failure are high, but if you don't talk, you definitely won't make progress.
I think really the most important outcome from APEC will be a firm commitment, a signal by both Presidents Biden and Xi that they intend to work on the relationship, to put the U.S.-China relationship on a more stable and constructive trajectory.
Also, optimism for improved military-to-military ties between the two countries. That's from the U.S. military's top general Charles Brown, who took over as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff just over a month ago. Currently in Japan, Brown said he sent an introductory letter to his Chinese counterpart saying he was open to meeting. He also said he did not rule out the possibility of a forceful takeover of Taiwan by the mainland, but believes it's more likely Xi would use other nonviolent means to unite with Taiwan. Possibly another gesture of goodwill ahead of the Xi-Biden meeting. Media reports said China purchased 3 million metric tons of soybeans from the U.S. over 2 days this week. As they continue their meeting in San Francisco, Vice Premier He Lifeng and U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen have agreed to intensify and maintain high-level regular communication to ensure smooth bilateral economic relations. The Chinese side said the two held candid and productive discussions during their 2 days of talks in San Francisco, California, from Thursday to Friday. Yellen said the talks have laid the groundwork for the meeting between President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Joe Biden next week. He Lifeng said Yellen agreed to seek common ground and resolve differences through regular dialogue to avoid friction in trade relations from escalating. Both stressed that neither side seeks decoupling. They also discussed the U.S. export controls and possible areas of cooperation, including climate change and debt relief from low-income countries.
I spoke to Vice Premier He about our goal of achieving a healthy economic relationship that benefits both our countries over time. We do not seek to decouple our economy from China's. This would be damaging to both the U.S. and China and destabilizing for the world. But a healthy economic relationship requires American workers and firms to be treated fairly. I raised concerns about the breadth and depth of the PRC's non-market policies and practices and their global spillovers.
Still ahead. Hospitals in Gaza are at a breaking point as a result of Israeli attacks. French President Emmanuel Macron urges Israel to stop killing babies. And a motor show in Twin Moon reopens after a break of 6 years. Welcome back. As Israel continues to attack Gaza, the Hamas-run health ministry there says the Al-Shifa hospital in the north is no longer able to function. Israel says the medical facility is a legitimate target because Hamas stockpiled weapons there. The United Nations have warned emergency care facilities are failing in Gaza, with patients suffering and morgues are overflowing. David Garrett reports.
Crowded corridors, overcrowded wards, too many patients for doctors to treat and a lack of resources to do it. The health ministry in Gaza says the Al-Shifa hospital reached breaking point.
Shifa hospital now are collapsing totally. There is hundreds of killed people around the hospital. There is a lot of dead bodies inside the hospital with no place for them to compensate them.
At the Al-Quds hospital further south in Gaza City, doctors worked by torchlight. The video released by the Palestinian Red Crescent Society shows staff operating in virtual darkness with electricity cut off. The organisation say a shooting by Israeli forces at the hospital killed one and wounded dozens. The United Nations say the overall picture in Gaza is bad beyond description.
Hospital corridors crammed with the injured, the sick, the dying. Morgues overflowing, surgery without anesthesia. Last week, WHO documented 5 attacks on 5 hospitals in one day. In the past 48 hours alone, 4 hospitals have been put out of action.
The UN next heard people with non-life-threatening wounds are likely to die.
If no aid gets to the north of Gaza Strip, we will soon see infants dying because their mothers cannot feed them. Many people will starve and die of diseases.
Many Gazans have turned and fled. These Palestinians were told by Israel to evacuate for their own safety. This man says he has lost contact with his mother and sister. He breaks down in tears, saying he feels pain. Refugees carry what they can and get as far away from the violence as they are able. David Garrett, TVB News.
Emmanuel Macron is the latest world leader to call on Israel to guard against harming civilians as they continue their war against Hamas in Gaza. He urged Israel to stop killing babies. The French president told the BBC that although there is support for Israeli military operations, the international community is concerned Israel is not doing enough to keep innocent people safe.
We clearly condemn this terrorist attack and this terrorist group and recognize the right of Israel to protect itself and react. But day one, we say that this reaction and the fight against terrorism because it is led by a democracy, should be compliant with international rules. I think there is no justification precisely to attack civilians. De facto, today, civilians are bombed. De facto. These babies, these ladies, these old people are bombed and killed. There is no reason for that.
The U.S. Air Force's B21 Raider bomber shaped like a flying wing has taken its first flight. That marks the next step in the rollout of a new fleet of long-range nuclear-capable stealth bombers built by Northrop Grumman. The B-21 left Northrop's facility at the U.S. Air Force in Palmdale, California at sunrise on Friday. It offers the first look at the new bomber, which has been developed under strict security. The B-21 was publicly unveiled in December 2022, but anticipation surrounding its first flight has been building for years. The B-21 features more durable, stealth-enabling, low-observable surface material that is expected to require less maintenance and decrease operation cost. Qianhai, a business area in neighboring Shenzhen, offers the benefits of being on the mainland while offering business-friendly policies. It's been trying to attract more companies to set up there and has earlier unveiled 12 measures to attract young people from Hong Kong and Macau, including housing and rent subsidies. One of the companies who joined said the measures allow them to build their team at a lower cost. Zachariah has more.
欢迎收看无线新闻。
More industries are starting to adapt AI-powered chatbot or virtual models in handling simple customer inquiries. The team behind the chatbot started 3 years ago. The business was born out of the Hong Kong Youth Innovation and Entrepreneur Hub in Qianhai in Shenzhen. As one of their shareholders is from Hong Kong, the company and its Hong Kong employees enjoy subsidies for rent and housing in Qianhai.
In Shenzhen, in mainland, we can more easier to get more employees and more business partners than Hong Kong.
The company plans to tap into the global market from Hong Kong.
Thank you. It would take 2 months to build a same-size virtual model based on me and cost 600,000 to 800,000 renminbi.
There are also accelerator firms based at the hub. This representative of a Hong Kong company said the policies are perfect for Hong Kong enterprise keen to explore the mainland market.
I think, and the main reason why I picked this is because I think the policies is more favorable or benefiting the Hong Kong enterprises, which I think the Hong Kong companies who want to expand the business in mainland, Qianhai should be the best choice for them.
She said it usually takes a couple of months for newcomers to settle because they have to deal with application approval, the opening of bank accounts and business registration. Sakari Ip, TVB News, Shenzhen.
The two-day Gold Coast Motor Festival opened in Two Moon today. The festival attracted international car lovers and visitors to appreciate at close range dozens of classic cars and sports cars. Bimbo Sangai was at the event.
3, 2, 1, go! Woo!
After a 6-year hiatus, the Gold Coast Moto Festival returned on Saturday at the Hong Kong Gold Coast in Two Moon. The event was opened by Michael Wong and lawmaker Kenneth Fogg. In his speech, the Deputy Financial Secretary Wong welcomed the return of the event and hoped the foreign visitors will enjoy the city.
Go outside, meet with people, and then you will share, hopefully, our very positive energy, the vibrancy of our city, the friendliness of our people.
Among the 30 classic cars and sports cars on show, these 3 vehicles are the highlights. They are the street versions of race cars that compete in GT1 races. While they are produced in the 90s, it is the first time the 3 cars are shown together in Hong Kong. The festival attracted many visitors and car lovers.
I think it's cool. I mean, it's a great venue with the grass and the layout of the cars. There's plenty of space and some super unique cars as well. Very rare machines. I grew up with motorsport from a very young age, so I've always been around cars, if you like. So, yeah, I love the design, the noise, the movement. And I also love that it brings people together. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a car worth $20,000 or a $20 million car.
It's been a while. I heard of it like a few years ago, but so we have a chance here and then just hang around, watch them, watch the car racing. And I've been to Morocco to see the Formula One. I think is that the electrical Formula One. It's quite exciting.
To spend a day at the Moto Festival, individuals can buy two types of day passes, a $200 adult ticket and a $100 concession ticket, either online or at the ticket counter here. Meanwhile, two car-themed entertainment zones were also set up for children to enjoy over the festival. Memos 9, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.